I remember the guy who won the overall. He was a local guy. I forget his name. I don't remember his name. Anyway, he was hard. I mean, he looked pretty good, and he did the open. And I remember I went in the, now this is the 80s, right? This is 1980, was it 88, right? Um, I went to use the bathroom. I walk in there. So typical like 80s movie, the guy's doing coke, right? Like on the counter, the bathroom sink counter thing, he's got the little,
That's
his
normal in the
mirror.
80s, right?
Yeah,
You know what though? I
pre-workout.
guess it was,
That
maybe
was
it was normal,
pre-workout.
but I don't know about Hawaii normal because I mean I had gone to clubs here, Sillies and stuff, but I didn't really see it at those clubs. Not like that. And this is a bodybuilding show. And this guy was doing the show. And then I remember seeing him and he was like, "Oh, what's up, bro?" And he was like, whatever. He was cool. He was older than me, obviously. And then he did his thing. And I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." And I was like, "Okay." And then he won, right? He won the overall. And I was like, "Damn,
Maybe I should have done some
that guy's
I should
push-ups.
doing
have saw
that
that.
guy's doing some bumps in the back, and he won the overall." Like, it never, don't get me wrong, it never convinced me to think that that was a good idea to compete and do cook, as I never did. But
No, you're good to go.
all
Are
right.
we good?
Hey
Okay.
everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Paradise Pump. Today, we got, we got some stories today. Got some bodybuilding stories today from the
Absolutely.
past, from things that we've seen, done, been around. So,
Wait, what does this include? Like weird ass shit or
oh,
like
it's whatever.
all
It's
free
any
game?
story that you want.
I know
Whatever
you
story.
have the most history in this field right here amongst
Just
us, so you
random
probably got the best
stories.
stories.
Gym goers dealing with people, I don't know, whatever. Anabolic stories. Anabolic.
Oh, and you own the
Uh,
gym too. Speaking of gym goers, so
yeah,
you must have seen it,
there's a
almost have
bunch.
seen it all,
Mm.
or even shit that happens backstage. Or like, all right, that if that
Oh
works for
yeah,
you.
there's been there's some funny stories. There's some funny stories actually. Yeah. But
Oh
I
man.
mean, what do you got, Bill? I know you
Reminiscing
got
of the
one.
past. We'll start with like my first, probably my first national show. Um, that was a sight, and we all know like I can only, not to say speak for myself, but from my own personal experience out there, that a lot of them are not natural,
Mm.
and we it's not a big secret, especially in the NPC sanction as well too. And some of these women's for the division that I competed in women's physique, I mean, they had no shame in their game on what they wanted to use or needed to use apparently to get big enough to win, their pro card apparently. So the conversation started going around in the back, and the girls in the back in my division in women's physique, they were talking about the kind of gear that they're on, what they're using, from the harsh stuff all the way down to like um insulin and diuretics and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize chicks do that. Like, holy shit. So I was eating by where the girl crew was doing their thing. And of course, I had to just like move over a little to
Mm.
listen in on their conversation. It didn't take very much. They were talking kind of loud about it, maybe even being boastful, but it was pretty hilarious. The fact that, I mean, they're using a copious amounts of gear. They're
Mm.
doing whatever it takes to win, and they do. They look fucking amazing. They look phenomenal. They're huge, they're ripped, striated, but at the same time, it comes with the price, right? The facial hair, the acne, the uh, grown women parts down there.
Right.
What else? Adverse reactions they may get, and so one of the stories they were saying about the copious amounts of gear that they were on, one of the girls just kind of blurted out. She was like, "Yeah, and when I was taking my order in the drive-through one day, the woman that was taking my order, my voice was so low they called me a sir." And I was like, "What? I ain't no sir," with her loud. And I was like, "Wow, great." And a lot of people, a lot of girls don't really understand. That's one of the compromises. You think, like with the facial hair, sure, you could shave it. The grown women parts down there, you can cover it up, or maybe get yourself a freak guy that likes that kind of shit. I don't know. But the enlarged mandibular or the enlarged head
Yeah.
from myalgia or from a lot of GH or a lot of the steroids, I mean, that unless you got a lot of money to do surgery or even with the voice, I mean, they do have voice softening
Right.
surgeries and stuff like that. I mean, that's one of the things that you're gonna have to consider if you do take gear, women. And ever
Mm.
since then, like I was just like, wow. At first, I didn't even know they were talking like for women to say like, wow, yeah, they use trend. It's like, holy
That's
shit,
hardcore.
they went that far. Oh yeah, I've
Mm.
been using insulin too. Is that necessary? I mean, like you guys aren't like pros and okay, all right, that was interesting.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah. I mean, I think even though someone's not pro, they're probably trying to go in that direction, right?
Hmm.
So they're doing the things that pros do, right?
Well, actually, how it started backstage, one of the girls was frantic. She was trying to make it a scene that she obviously needed to take her insulin shot
Hmm.
before she, whatever, because she is uh, highly, very diabetic, whatever you want to call it. So she was kind of making a scene and making like, I don't know her personally, but she was obviously trying to, you know, make sure everybody known that she wasn't cheating or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And she was very loud on the phone with her coach. It's like, yeah, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. And then my meal timing, and then, my diabetes. And she was saying it super loud. And I
Oh,
was
she
just
has
like,
diabetes.
yeah. So
Oh,
she was
okay.
saying it loud so that she was like, I don't know, it maybe like the whole when people will tell you, oh, I'm natural, by the
Yeah.
way, right? Mark, if you don't know, I'm natural.
Right. I know. Just to remind me,
Just to remind you, if I hadn't told you 30 times today.
I'm
But
not
she
wearing the
was,
shirt.
yeah, so she was frantic on the phone and saying it really loud. My diabetes, and so that's how like the conversation started talking.
Mhm.
I know she was meal timing,
Yeah.
I mean, but
My
hey, I
God.
wasn't gonna call it on me. Oh, you fucking cheater. Yeah, whatever. It's getting that pump before we get on stage, you cheater. No, it is what it is. Hey, if we're all subjected to all of these resources and tools, and however you want to deploy them, that's completely up to you, in my opinion. But I
Yeah.
was just like, all right, if this is nationals, then this is nationals.
Yeah. Welcome. You got a taste of it,
Hmm.
huh? Interesting. What about you, Jed? You got anything fun to talk about from your
Um,
past?
I got shat on once.
Oh,
It
wow.
was when I had the Sean Ray at the Shell,
Okay.
and it was one of those where I had overdone it and spilled over, so I was just kind of in a bad mood. I was like, I just want to get this done and go the fuck home. I don't want to be here. So I was already in a bad attitude, and then we walked
You, bad
out, and
attitude?
it
No.
was it was I want to say it was in the evening because I remember it was hot as shit. And we went out there and we did a front relax. The next thing you know, a bird shits on my shoulder while I was
Oh,
out there, and I
really?
was like, because I just thought I was like, man, can this get any worse? I just want to go home. Right when I thought that, I got shat on. I was like,
Yeah,
shut.
I didn't. When you said you got shat on, I was like, "Who?" I thought
No,
maybe a
well, like a
competitor shat on you. I
no,
was
a
like,
bird
"Okay, we're
shat
gonna
on
find out."
me while I was
So a
on
bird, you're
stage.
literally just on your
Yep,
shoulder.
while I was out there, and I
And did
looked.
did you did you like
No,
you
I
just
played
played it
it.
off?
Yeah, I played
Okay.
it off. I was like real close to
Oh
just
man,
walking the fuck off
that's right
stage,
because it was
but
open air. Yeah.
yeah,
Dude,
I was like,
that's
fuck.
Was it
bad.
a nice juicy piece of
That
shit?
It
was
was
a
big.
juicy.
You didn't
It
even try
dripped.
like the
I don't know
front
how they did.
relax
I don't
to
know
like,
how Mark didn't see it. I mean, it was dripping down when I was up there on
Bro,
Friday.
that's
Yeah,
nasty, dude. And you
yeah.
managed to just hold it together.
Well, yeah, we weren't out
Wow.
there that long. There's only three of
Yeah.
us out there.
Okay.
but still, I mean, what
Oh
would
my
you have done?
God.
Would you have been like, oh fuck,
I
and
don't
then
even, you know what? I don't even know because you can say that. Yeah, I'll probably wipe it or get off stage. But I mean, who knows? I don't know what I would have done. I guess when you're in that moment, then you're going to react, right? It's hard to say. Because speaking of that, like I had done a show. So way back. Of course, most of my shows are way back, but um, it's probably in like the '90s, and it was up in California, I think. And I remember I usually, whenever I do my posing routines, it's very specific. Like I'm not like the guy that just puts a song on and just makes
free
up
balls it?
poses.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could basically just post to any song. Like I actually have these, specific mixes. Usually it might be like two songs mashed together or something like that, right? So it's pretty specific. And I think at this show, it was going to be like there was like a slow song and then it went into a fast song. And before you could do a minute and a half, so it was
Yeah.
pretty cool. You got pretty good time. So I remember I'm waiting in the back, and then the guy right before me, I think it was literally right before me, my song comes on. Now, it's an old song. It was actually Marvin Gaye, Let's Get It On. So I'm like, mm, the odds of another guy using that song at that time in like the 90s was rare. You know what I mean? It was rare. Like I was like, is that my mix? And I was waiting, and then sure enough, it was my mix because I went from that song to a fast song. And I was like, and the guy was out there posing. And I'm like, dude, that's not his song. Like, and I know that, right? So he comes off stage and I go, yo, that's my mix, dude. And then I even told the person who was mixing, I was like, that's the wrong mix. And they were like, they just kept it going. They're like, oh, he's out there posing. And then he comes off and I go, yo, dude, what's up, man? Like that was my song. You were posting my mix. Oh, I don't know. They just played it. So I said, fuck it. I just post to it. I was like, you're fucking dumbass, dude. Like seriously, like I just walk off the stage. Like because I've seen it before. If that's not my song and I'm going on stage and they start playing a song, I just walk right off. And
Yep.
I just go, hey, that's not my song. And I wait till they
Yep.
get it right.
Yeah.
I don't just stand there and start posing to some random music. And he did that. I was so I was so irritated this day. And I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. I think I posted my song anyway. Like they just played it anyway. Like it was like back to back. But obviously my posing routine was 100 times better
Yeah. It
because
matched the
there
song.
was an actual
Yeah.
posing routine to it. But I just remember like this is how idiotic people are. That they'll just oh
Oh,
well,
that's not
screw
my
it. I'll
song.
just wing it, knowing it's not their music, but it doesn't matter. But that just goes to show you too, he didn't have a fucking posing routine, right? He just had a random song and he didn't care. He was like, well, whatever. So I remember I was so pissed. I was like, with this guy,
So
man.
how'd you do at that show?
That was it was an NPC one. Oh, I think I took. I'm trying to remember. Was it because I was in light heavyweights at the time? It was like 187 or something, or 190 or something like that. And I think I took either. I'm trying to say I think I won the light heavyweight class, but then I lost the overall. I think is what happened. As I'm trying to remember, because it was this one guy. Because literally the next, I think it was 2 weeks later, there was another show, and I just like cut my carbs even more. And I came into the next show, and then I ended up, and that guy was there again. The guy who beat me was there again. And then I won the overall in that next show. It was like the Central Pacific Bodybuilding Championships. It
Here?
was out in Cali.
Oh, Cali. I was about to say,
Yeah.
I
So it
don't
was
recall
the
that.
Central Pacific coast, like off of California. So yeah, this was like 93. Because this was the same time, that same year I did the Hawaiian Islands, and I came in second in the light heavyweights. Because I was, again, honestly, I think I was competing clean at
Oh,
in
wow.
90, yeah, in 93. I wasn't on any gear, like to be honest. I had done some gear obviously before, prior and all that stuff, just small stuff, tests and all that. But when I had done those shows, yeah, I wasn't on any gear.
Wow. And you did
So
well.
yeah, I actually won an overall. I won an
So,
overall clean. It was an NPC national qualifier. I was like 20, 24, so I was young.
so
And
you were basically natural.
when I did the shows, yes. I'm not gonna say I was a natty, but when I did those shows, I was natural, and I mean, it shows that I was competing at like 190, 187,
Did you
190.
tell everybody and remind them that you
No,
were
I
a
didn't. I didn't
natural?
run around. No, I actually didn't. I was actually ashamed. You know what? It's funny. It's so true. But I was like, man, I got to get on gear. I was upset because I think at the
Even after
time,
winning.
well, yeah, because I was like, I know I could have been even bigger or better.
Oh,
I
fuck.
knew it. I was like, man, if I was on gear, I could have been at the top of the light heavies, shredded, at like 198, 197, but I was like 187, 188. So because I was clean. You know what I mean? But it just shows you like pretty good genetics and nice shape. And I came in hard in that, and I was able to win that overall. And that was natty. So
Yeah,
hey,
he was
yeah.
natural.
But when I did the Hawaiian Islands, I lost that because like I was a lot. He wasn't big. Like he was like 180, I think, but he was so peeled. He
Who'd
was
you?
so
Who's?
Shane Moroka.
Yeah,
He used to own that gym.
the
World was it World Gym or he no
um,
it burned down whatever.
yeah,
I see. I wasn't here.
thinking
I
it
had
was
moved
worlds.
when he had owned that. Right, it was Worlds. Yeah. So I competed against him, and that guy was crazy because he would be like 250 off season, and he literally showed up at like 179. I remember asking
Dude,
him.
God.
I remember asking him because I was backstage and I was like 187, right? This was my last show of that year. Now I had just won that overall. I had done a couple. This is like my third show, I think, of that year. So I don't know. It's probably close to my best look. Maybe the show, because the show that I had won the overall, it was like I want to say it was like maybe a month prior. So I was holding this condition, right? Not too. I mean, again, I was clean, so I was just eating my meals, right? When I came out to the Hawaiian Islands, yeah, I was like, oh, I look really good, but I didn't have that hardness, that you see. And he did. And I was like, oh, he's hard, so hard. And I was like, hey man, how much do you weigh? Because he was around 5'9", maybe 5'8", 5'9". And I was like yeah, about 5'10", maybe. So I was a little bit taller. And he goes, oh, 179. And I go, what? But he was so peeled. Like, I mean, this guy was shredded, beyond shredded. But obviously over dieted. I mean, like I think he could have probably looked good at, maybe 200 or maybe at the top of the light heavyweights probably. But he was like 179. Okay.
Even if he was 5 pounds above, it probably would have looked fucking
Yeah, because he was like 250
crazy.
off season. I think
Yeah,
250, 260 off season. And he wasn't really fat. Like he was pretty big.
over dieted.
So way over that. Yeah, way over that. So I was like, wow, that was crazy. Like,
So, as far as that dry granite,
yeah.
grainy look, what do you think that's attributed more from?
Winnie, Hallow Tested,
Yes.
Lifting heavy,
Master Road,
lifting
all
really
that.
heavy. At some point in your life growing up, you have to have lifted really heavy to
Yeah,
get that
well,
look.
to get the grain, but to get that dryness, it is obviously DHT compounds huge
Mm-hmm.
because that's a huge part of it. Yeah, to just have that hard
See how Mark likes
dry.
to always talking about triple down on everything.
That's right, baby. No, hey, I'm just saying it's facts
It
though.
helps. It
And
sure
and
does.
here's the thing, because I can tell you, like, because I have experience, because I
Mm-hmm.
did both, right? I competed clean and I competed on gear. Like, I did both. I dieted clean all the way through 5 months. I think I did a 20-week or 20 weeks at least diet clean. Like, wasn't on anything. So, again, don't get me wrong, I wish I was. I think I would have cleaned house even more. But hey, I might have won the Hawaiian Islands, maybe even. She's,
Maybe.
if I had come in at the top of the light heavyweights, you never know. But whatever. Yeah. So
Going back to that granite hard muscle density, that look, yes, you absolutely do need to lift hard,
for
lift
sure, yeah,
heavy, and build a good foundation. What a lot of people think, and the instant gratification of things, you see it on social media so frequently. These youngins like to get on the gear and just, yeah, they
yeah.
grow up, they get big, and huge fast,
Well,
but wait until they're like about our age, they're probably gonna be like, oh shit, that was not
I
good.
think it's there's a big part of it that is genetics because like I can tell you like Polynesian guys,
Yeah,
because I'm part Hawaiian, like 20%. Um, I can tell you Polynesians have a hard time getting that grainy look.
yeah.
Polynesians look good, nice shape, nice structure, usually pretty brown bellies,
Hmm.
but to get that graininess, it's hard for Polynesians to get that.
Yeah, that muscle maturity and that
Yes, just that
graininess. It's
graininess. They get
yeah.
big, like don't get me wrong, someone's huge. But to come in with that hard, that's why you don't never really seen a lot of
Hmm.
Polynesian bodybuilders.
Or
Like,
I even noticed that with like Asians and they
Some of the
take,
Asians too.
yeah, the muscle maturity just takes a
Hmm.
long time for it to come through.
To come, yeah, to see that, yeah.
Hmm.
So
You can get there
yeah,
real fast.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Triple
But
down on it.
triple, triple down, man, come on.
Triple D's.
Yeah, that's funny. So that was, yeah, that was one thing, that show, and then I mean, there's been gym things, like training in the gym. I think I only lost it one time. I think people in the gym, when I used to train at commercial gyms. Well, I lost it a lot in here because it's my gym. But commercial gyms, 24-hour fitnesses and stuff like that. Like I'm sure everybody has a story in there, right?
Oh
Because
yeah,
there's
absolutely.
just people in there, I don't know, they're just clueless, or I feel like a lot of times I try not to get upset because I don't even think that they even know what they're even doing. Like I don't think they're doing it on
I think
purpose.
that's 50-50. Okay, continue.
Some people, right? Well, I was in there, and then the guy was, at the gym that I was at, and this one wasn't here in Hawaii. I have a few different stories, but this incident wasn't here in Hawaii. It was out in Cali. The guy was using the Smith machine. Now, there's only one Smith machine there, okay? So, so everyone's fighting for that machine, right? So I remember going over there, and and see, back in the day, a lot of the guys don't know this nowadays, but well, we used to actually work in with people. It's actually a thing. It was a real thing. You work in with somebody,
Yeah, and that's how you made friends
yeah, and
too.
that's how you made friends, and you
And
guys
lifting
kind of
partners
trained,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you just, hey, can I work in or whatever? As long as it wasn't too crazy. Like if a guy is squatting one plate and you're doing four, it's like, yeah, you're not gonna work. You're
Yeah.
not gonna work in with that. That's kind of crazy. But if it's a machine, there's a pin, it's easy. You can switch it. So this was a Smith machine, and I wasn't even trying to work in with him. I just remember just wanting to know how many sets he had, and I go over there, and I was watching him obviously for a little bit. I got in there, I was moving around. So it's probably a good 15 minutes. I've been already there watching, going, okay, let me go ask him. So I asked the guy, and he kind of looks at me, and goes, oh, I don't, maybe 10 more sets,
What?
and I just was like, it's just, I was like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Like, because I'm watching this guy, what he was doing, right? And he wasn't, I mean, I don't even know if he knows what he was doing. And I just kind of, I remember I just, when they say you get triggered, right? That wasn't even a word back then, right? Back in the 90s or the early 2000s, didn't use triggered, but that's what it was. I got so irritated because I said, really? Because I was like, really? 10 more sets? And I'm like, seriously? And then he just like, I thought he was messing with me right at first. And he goes, oh yeah, like, and he's serious. And I go, what are you doing exactly? Like what kind of program is this? Like I'm starting to dig into because I'm irritated now. I'm like, what kind of program is this? Like, what kind of workout is this? And he's just like, oh, and he just kind of got nervous, like he didn't know what to say, right? And then I think one of his buddies was over there, and his friend had no idea what the fuck was even going on. And I was just like, and I got so irritated. I remember just being like, what are you doing, dude? Do you even know what you're even doing? Like, this is the one time I really got rude. And I was like, you don't even know what you're fucking doing, do you? I was like, you know what? Keep the fucking machine, man. I was like, 10 sets? Who does 10 sets on a Smith machine? Do you even know what's going on? You've been here 15 minutes. I was like, whatever. I walked off, right? So that was the dick move, right? And it was funny. I started doing extensions or something. And then, like, literally, like, I don't know, 5 minutes later, he comes by, him and his friend, he comes by. Hey, man, I'm all done with the machine if you want it. I was like, you motherfucker. And of course I apologized. I said, hey, dude, I said, sorry, man. I'm just like, I don't know, people like 10 sets. And then he admitted to me. He goes, yeah, I don't know what I'm really doing. He goes, I don't know. I just, somebody told me I should do that. And he's like,
What the
but
fuck?
obviously I guess it was a bad idea. And then it made me feel bad, right? And I was like, oh fuck. I was like, all
Somebody
right,
told him to do 10 sets.
somebody, or he read it somewhere or something. And I was
I
like,
don't know about
hmm.
reading that somewhere, but I'm pretty sure somebody probably told him to do
10
10 sets.
sets. Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's more than 10 sets because he had already been on that for 15
Hmm.
minutes. So he said he had 10 more left. I don't know what he had done prior. So it could have been 15, 20 sets on the Smith machine. I have no idea.
You know what my one answer I hate the worst when I ask somebody how many sets they have
Yeah,
is I just started. And then my response is that's not a fucking number.
that's right.
Like, how many sets do you have? I don't care if you just
Right.
started. Or one time, it was a guy in here. He was on a machine. I said, "Hey, how many you got left?" He's like, "Well, I like to go in and do some warm up sets and then it feels set." And I stopped. I was like,
Do the
I said,
explanation.
"Hey, buddy, I'm not trying to be a dick, but I don't care. How many do you have left?" 4. That's all I need. All I need to know. I don't need to know your whole range of all the sets you do in the warm ups. Just I need a fucking number so I know how long it takes for me to come back.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is how I am. Even in here, obviously, I own all this shit, right? Like somebody, I'll be doing a superset maybe. I'll be on one machine over here, the other one's over right there. Nobody knows that I'm on it. I don't have my stuff on it, whatever. I'm just going back and forth. A guy will walk up to it. He'll kind of get ready, put his stuff down. Maybe it's like the row, like seated row or something, right? And then I'll be like, "Hey man, I have like one more set left, or like two more sets, whatever." And he'll be like, "Oh, okay, okay." And I go, "No, no, you can work in. You can work in. Like I got two more sets. You can go ahead because I'm doing this. I'm supersetting. So just go right ahead, and then we can train in together." And most of the time though, people don't want to. They're like, "Oh no, no, I'll just wait. I'll just go over here." And I'm like, "No, dude. Like I don't even work in, dude. It's just a pin, bro. Like just switch the pin. You do your set, I do my set. Like." And it happens a lot though. Like
I
people
see that.
don't want to, they don't want to share, they don't want to share it. I'm not saying they're not being rude, but I don't know if they're uncomfortable with sharing it. I don't know. Cause I always offer it. If somebody asks me and I'll go, "Oh, I got two more sets, but you can work in." I offer that. I don't say I got two more sets and leave it at that. I always offer.
That was always standard at the last
That
gym I
was
was at
standard.
because guys know it's really busy over there all the
Yeah. You
time.
just
Yep.
offer.
Even if I'm training a group and somebody's waiting, I'll work them in with the guys and spot
Yep.
them
Yeah.
and just it's like, hey, just get in line and go through and run them through. It was like it wasn't an uncommon thing to jump in with people.
No, and I don't know when it became uncommon because here's a 24-hour fitness, another 24-hour fitness incident in Pro City 24. Now this is again before I had this gym, right? I went down there because I used to train there once in a while. I think I 24 had that membership where you can kind of go to all of them or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
So I would go there once in a while. And I remember going in there and I was already I was bodybuilding at the time, right? I was probably like 245, I think pretty big, whatever. And I go in there, and that gym is interesting because, like, the dumbbell area, there's benches, and it just people camp there. They do not leave those benches. They camp, and then behind it, there's like the little dipping. You can do dips slash abs, right?
Yep.
It's that little apparatus. So I was gonna do dips. And there was a girl on there, it's probably in her 20s, and I think she was doing abs. Now, that's the only dip thing, okay? Again, there's only one dip machine. So, and I'm in the middle of my workout. I'm not gonna wait. I'm not, and I'm just like, "You're just doing abs. Like we could work out, right?" So I go over there and I see her doing her abs and I wait for her to finish her set and I go, "Hey, you know, how many sets you got? Whatever." And I don't remember what she said. She probably had like maybe two or three sets. And I said, "Oh, can I go in?" And she was just like, kind of seemed confused and she's like, "Oh yeah, sure." And then she just got up and left, right? And I'm like, "Okay, whatever." So I'm doing my dips. I look across the gym and I'm assuming that was her boyfriend that she was talking to, and he was on the benches. And I look and she's talking to him, and you can see she's upset. And she's like, and she's doing this because I can't hear it because the music's loud and it's about, 20 yards down away. So she's doing the hand motion. She's upset. And he kind of like, he's like, "Oh," and he looks over at me. And I'm just kind of standing there like this, just in between sets, And he looks over at me and he looks at her and he goes, just, like, he's
Yeah.
like,
Just
"Don't worry about it. Just go already." Cause he saw who it was. And then I don't know, for whatever reason, he was just like, "Just whatever, just go do something else, cause I think she was bitching. But I didn't kick her off the machine. I just said I want to work in. And I don't know if she understood or she just got annoyed because I was gonna work in and she just left. And it was so funny. The dude just looked over and he was just like, "No, I'm not
I'm
dealing with
not
that."
starting a fight with that
Or
guy.
I don't even know if it was that so much as maybe he was just like, "Well, he obviously trains. You're fucking around. Just go do
Yeah.
something else." You know what I mean? Like, who
If you
knows?
could have been a fly on the wall listening to that
I know,
conversation,
because it
huh?
was funny because she was bitching at him, and I just was watching it.
And then in the car, it was either a really loud or a really quiet ride home, huh?
I was looking right at him too, like waiting because I was like, okay, well, I was waiting to say something like, "Hey, man, she could work in," but they never came around.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot of people they don't know how to engage with other people
Yeah,
working in,
yeah.
and you know.
It's the weirdest thing
So
ever. Like, it's a shared space.
speaking of Smith machines and 24-hour fitness, I so funny. So and it was probably within these past maybe 8 years or so, 24-hour fitness. I don't know if you've been there in a
Oh,
bit.
it's been
Kapiolani,
probably that long
where
since
they
I've been
got
there.
all the Smith machines lined up against the mirror as soon as you enter in the floor, whatever.
Mhm.
So a while back, so I was in the Smith machine doing some squats or whatever, and then you know how you rack it, you kind of take a break a little bit, you stretch out a little bit, and I guess it was during prime time or whatever, and God bless this lady's heart, but she was obviously looking for some weights, and apparently the weight she needed was on top of my rack.
Oh,
But
really?
on top of the bar that I was getting ready. So I even unlatched and everything. I was gonna get ready for my next set. And I see this lady in the mirror. She's like frantic, looking. I see her in the mirror and I'm like, oh, what the fuck? So I slow down instead of taking my squat, right? And then she comes to my rack and she grabs my weight. I was like, "Wait, what the fuck?" I re-racked my weight. I was like, lady, like I'm using this shit, obviously. And she's like, and she giggles
Yeah,
and like walks away. I'm like,
yeah.
she just that I was so befuddled. I'm like, I don't know if to
Oh
be
my
mad
god.
or to just like that was the most craziest shit. She just like
They just do
took
weird
my
shit. You,
right off from where my working
yeah,
bar.
yeah. That you remember that? You probably remember this lady at 24 Pialani. She used to do leg presses and read a book. Remember her?
Oh my
She
god.
had glasses. It was a white lady.
Hmm.
She used to sit there and she would do the leg
I know
press and
which
she
lady
would
you're
read
talking
the
about.
book. And I was like, how do you, what? She's like literally reading and doing her set. And I was like, that gym had characters, man.
Yes, that gym had
There was a
Still
fight
characters.
does.
one
They
night.
still
There was
do.
there was a I used to work out at night sometimes, right? Like at 11 o'clock at night. And me and Ernie, we had Ernie on here, but we used to train. And then I think it was one night I was alone, and then I forget, and I one of the guys I knew, the other guy I didn't really know, but I'd seen him in there. And I don't know, they were arguing about something, and it was probably around midnight, 11:30, midnight. And there was that it's a busy crowd.
Hmm.
There's like that night crowd that goes there
They got to
around
get
that
their
time
pump before going to
to the whatever
yeah,
club or whatever they're doing, bunch of drug dealers in there at
yeah,
midnight.
that
Like
too.
there's a whole crowd of that's in there. It's interesting crowd and it's busy. Well, these guys they were arguing. They're like, let's go outside. So they literally went outside to the out downstairs.
In the back,
No, no, in the front.
Kapiolani
Uncle
roadside.
Pialani, this was before they had all that because there used to be like a car wash place in the front there.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know if it's still there now, but it was a parking lot. And then at nighttime, when the car wash thing wasn't there, it was just an open parking lot.
yeah.
And there wasn't a whole lot going on there, right? So they went out into that parking lot and they like fought each other. And it was a lame fight because they were kind of staying away and they were trying to swing and nobody really like
What?
connected.
One of
Yeah.
those.
It might have been a couple jabs here and there, but and literally I want to say most of us went outside to watch it. Like they were like even me, I was like, well,
Oh,
hey,
fuck
let me go
yeah.
outside and watch this fight. Like we all just went down the stairs onto Kabilani and right outside, and we all just kind of watched it. It was kind of funny. And then I don't know what happened after that. I think the one guy left or something. And yeah, it was so just crazy stuff that went on at that place, man. Some interesting
I
stories.
love that place. I had the shift when I was working, when I would see you guys come in. I had the shift before the grave shift. So I had mostly like
Oh,
prime time.
yeah.
That was fun. And then at the same time, too, within that prime time, there's still a lot of characters that would come through and in and out.
Oh man. Some really interesting
That's when still had the
characters.
racquetball courts inside of
Yep,
there.
yep. That was when they had racquetball.
And then arm wrestling when the racquetball courts wasn't full.
Oh, it's Steve English.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
that
Yeah.
was Steve's thing. Yeah, yeah. Back in the That's funny that you were there for all that.
I was working there part-time from probably when I was like 16.
Hmm.
Yeah, good times.
Interesting. Yeah, wow, that was so crazy. But yeah, I mean, those are just a few things. Um, I don't know. There's probably a lot more. Jed, you got some other stories?
You talking about the
Some gym
parking lot? You
stories?
talking about the parking lot? Reminded me of one time we're at 24 Mililani, and these guys were in the parking lot fighting over taking a spot or something. The dude punched him and broke his Oakleys.
Oh, he literally. Wow.
Yeah, he
Okay.
hit him. And then while the cop was came and was talking to the guy, the dude that punched him went and pulled out $200 and gave it to him to buy more glasses, and they just shrugged it off and walked
That was
inside.
it.
I was
Oh,
like, okay, well, the cop was just like, what the fuck? Like, his it was
what just
just
happened?
came out here for nothing.
Yeah.
Because after they cooled down, it was fine,
They.
but they were all
Yeah.
heated up in the moment. And the dude knocked him out and then gave him money to buy new glasses. But that's where
Yeah.
that's where I started training when I first came here was 24 Mililani.
Oh,
And
okay.
there was a lot of the bodybuilders that were over there at that time before all these other gyms showed up.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it was all right. I remember getting extremely pissed when they took the fucking leg room out and put it in a daycare.
Oh yeah.
Because the back room used to have the
Power
platforms and the
form
squat.
of
Yeah, it
the
used to have all those
powerlifting
racks and
area. Yeah.
everything. And the manager at the time got rid of the squat racks because he's like, yeah, nobody ever does squats. I was like, we do squats all the time.
Yeah.
Wasn't that when Quincy was running that gym? I used to work there part-time too. I'm so weird, I know. But
You
yeah,
worked all over.
I did. I did. I worked there for a little while too. I even worked at International for a little bit. I even
Oh,
worked at the
International
spa for a little bit.
Fitness.
Yeah,
Wow,
man.
you're
I'm just a
dating it.
freaking gym
You're
whore.
really dating it, man. You're
Yeah.
going way back. Yeah.
Yep. Anyway,
International.
yeah, a lot of the power lifters used to use that back
Yep.
space area, and I think it was like Quincy that was
They
running
had
it
a
for a
squat
little bit.
rack, two power racks, a deadlift platform, and I want to say there was a leg press back there too.
Yeah, there was.
Mm.
Like a white eye carrying or something, a pre-core, one of those. Because I remember we used to go back there to do legs, and then they put that freaking daycare in there.
Yeah, people. It's funny you mentioned, spa and stuff. But a lot of people that are younger, they don't know about that. The spa used to have the women day and the men day.
Yeah.
It was like separated, like Tuesday, Thursday, or something was women's.
And after a certain
Wednesday,
hour was like
Monday,
mixed bag or
Wednesday.
whatever. Yeah. After
Yeah,
after
right,
a while, and
right.
then
It
at
was
a certain
mixed.
after
Yeah,
hour, it was mixed bag.
I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like 2 days women, 2 days men, and then mix or something. Yeah, I forget. And then you could pay. It was so weird the way that they would sign you up. I remember because I mean, at this time, I was probably like 17 or something when I had signed up. I was young. And they had a weird, like, you could do the option where you just go in and train on the men's only days, and it's cheaper, right? Or you could do unlimited, right? Go on the other. It's so weird. It's such a weird system looking back at it. I'm like, that was so interesting. You just go in and it was just all dudes in there
You
training.
think it's all right for Jim to segregate shit like that? I really don't like it.
I mean, in the 80s and 90s, I mean, that was probably 70s too. That was the thing, man. I mean, it was really a thing because I think I had said it before, like 24-hour fitness, they used to be a women's
Yep.
area,
Upstairs
a
used to be
women's
that women's
area.
area
Which
only.
24?
Kapilani.
Kapiolani. It
Okay.
was big.
That upstairs was
That
used to be
upstairs.
a only women's
And
before.
I mean, women were going up there. I mean, there was women up there, but it was a big space that it was just for women only. It was like a bunch of light shit, like dumbbells and
A lot of Nautilus machine.
yeah,
I
not
spent a lot
yeah,
of time up there.
yeah,
Yeah. Trying to
yeah.
get huge before I
Yeah.
could
Trying
come
to get
down and
huge
yeah.
before to get in the men's zone. Oh
Yes.
my
I had
god.
to make sure I was worthy
That's
of
so
lifting
funny.
regular weights. But yeah, I spent a lot of time up there, and that's at the same time that 24 Fitness Kapiolani used to have that food area. I don't
Yeah.
know if you remember had that little
Oh, I
cafe.
remember that. I used to get shakes over there, and yeah, that was pretty good. I used to always get whatever that protein muffin or whatever it was. I don't know. They had some pretty good food in there.
Breakfast was awesome too. I think it was $3 all you can eat oatmeal and egg whites.
Yeah.
Oh, that
So
was my favorite.
that was the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
90s prices. You ain't getting that anymore.
All you can eat. Oh, that was so
And
awesome.
yeah, those are good stuff. Yeah, because I remember, I think I talked about it because Nasser, you remember when
Oh,
Nasser was training there?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And then one of my workout buddies, Eddie, I don't know, like something happened. I don't know what Eddie was saying because
Which Eddie?
Eddie wasn't
Pauli
from
Eddie?
no, well, he was like Arabic Eddie,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we used to train together. And he was from Cali, right? And then I just remember something happened. I don't know because I never talked to Nasser ever. And then Nasser came up to him and was like, "Don't talk about me," or something about
Oh shit.
"Don't say my name," or and he was like in his face, and Eddie was just kind of like, "Whoa, like what's up?" And then I was like, "What the hell? What the hell happened, dude?" Like, 'cause I didn't know, because he was just like, "I'll kill you," like not like Nasser was huge, and he
Yeah.
just he just had this like he wasn't. I would say he didn't seem like the most pleasant guy to talk to. He always seemed like he had like a serious look on his face. So yeah, I don't know what happened. Eddie, I just know that he just yelled at my friend Eddie, and he wanted to kill him. You could tell he was pissed. And then I asked Eddie, but Eddie didn't really tell me. And we were mainly workout partners, so I didn't know what he was doing outside of the gym. I didn't know what Eddie was like, what was going on. I was like, oh, this isn't good. Not a good thing. Because
Oh man.
because
Yeah.
he looked at me too, right? Like Nasser looked over at me,
Like,
like
oh,
kind
you
of
part of
just
him?
just
Yeah.
kind of looked at me and just didn't say nothing. But I was just like, damn, dude, okay. I don't know what's going on. Shit. This dude's like 320 pounds. I mean, yeah, hey, he's a big boy.
I think probably bigger than that, huh?
He
Or
was freaking
he was
huge.
fucking
I
huge.
just know he would always wear these like tights, these like biker shorts. We used to call them, right? Up to your knees. His legs. I just remember looking at his legs, going, "Yeah, my legs will never be that big." Like literally going, "Yeah, I can't never. That's huge." Like just when there's some people you look at and you go, "Yeah, I don't even know. I couldn't even visualize myself being that big." Like,
You know, it's so crazy. There are people that big. There are, and there are the normies that think a lot of these pros actually got there and got that big being natural. Like,
oh, okay. Mhm.
yeah. Like, oh, you really think? Yeah, they probably did a lot of it too.
Yeah. Come on now. Come on now. Yeah, I never I have a story from a show. My first bodybuilding show actually. So here in Hawaii, I was like 19, and it was the Mr. Aloha State. I did a novice, first show before I was because I did a couple of teen shows after that one. And then I remember it was in the Sheraton as usual. They had the Hawaii Record Breakers powerlifting meet that the same time. So it was like the record breakers meet and then they had the show. So it was kind of weird because that meet went late. So like we didn't get on stage till I don't know. I felt like it was like after 11 o'clock, which is probably that was normal for like
Normal.
Paradise Cup,
Yeah.
right? But we were waiting and waiting and waiting, and then it was after 11 or so, and then I remember the guy who won the overall. He was a local guy. I forget his name. I don't remember his name. Anyway, he was hard. I mean, he looked pretty good. And he did the open. And I remember I went in the now this is the 80s, right? This is 1980, was it 88, right? Um, I went to use the bathroom. I walk in there, so typical like 80s movie, the guy's doing coke, right? Like on the counter, the bathroom sink counter thing, he's got the little,
That's
his
normal in the
mirror.
'80s, right?
Yeah.
You know what though? I
Pre-workout.
guess it was
That
maybe
was
it was normal,
pre-workout.
but I don't know about Hawaii normal because I mean I had gone to clubs here, Sillies and stuff, but I didn't really see it at those clubs, not like that. And this is a bodybuilding show, and this guy was doing the show, and then I remember seeing him, and he was just like, "Oh, what's up, bro?" And he was like, "Whatever." He was cool. He was older than me, obviously, and then he did his thing, and I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." And I was like, "Okay." And then he won, right? He won the overall, and I was like, "Damn, that guy."
Maybe I should have done some
That
Maybe
more.
guy's
I should
doing
do some of
that
that.
guy's doing some bumps in the back, and he won the overall. Like it never, don't get me wrong, it never convinced me to think that that was a good idea to compete and do coke, as I never did. But um, yeah, I was like interesting, and that the guy was hyped up. I tell you what, I remember he came out of the bathroom. He was pretty fired up, man. He
Wow.
was, yeah. Oh, he was fired up.
Uh,
Yeah, and he looked good. I got to give him that. I mean, he did. He won
no
the
shame in
show.
his game, right in
No
the
shame.
open. Not
In
in
the
the
open.
stall, not
No, it
trying to
wasn't.
do
It
like
was
a
like
little
right by
key
the
thing.
sink.
Just
Yeah. It was right by the sink. And I was just like, wow, okay. I just happened to walk in right there. And I was like, right on. He didn't offer. So
oh fuck him then.
he was just
Fuck
like, hey,
him.
what's up, bro? What's up? Like, he was just like, what's up? Like, cool. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay. And yeah. Oh my God.
Speaking of backstage and getting hyped up before a show, man, and it was at another national show. It was the class before me. Since I'm pretty tall, I'm in the B class, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, so
Five
the
four,
A
5'3".
class, we're all lined up, we're all getting ready to do our thing before we go on stage and stuff like that. And one of the girls, she was a little firecracker, dude. Like I said this before on one of our earlier podcasts. I guess whatever, like to get her like psyched up and ready to go and amped and stuff like that. She was straight like shadow boxing and doing
Oh, you
like
told me
all
this.
burpees and shit. I was just like, damn, maybe I should be doing some of that. And that's where you guys don't do that. If another competitor's doing some shit, just mind your own business.
Well,
Just do what your coach says. Don't be no shadow boxing and making like the soup 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 noises and like
well, I told you about the one show, right?
no.
That I wasn't competing in it. Wait, was I competing? Maybe I was competing. Shit. It was Paradise Cup, I think. It was my first Paradise Cup, and yeah, and then there was somebody in the back there. One of the guys was doing the shadow boxing. I'm trying to think. Was it? I think it was at that Paradise Cup because he had done a show, maybe like the next year. Maybe did he do another one? And he was doing the same thing. And I wasn't in that show. I was just back there, but he was doing the same. He was shadow boxing. And it was funny because it was a few of us that were kind of hanging out, that were competing, and we were all kind of like, what the hell's going on? We're like,
Do I need to shadow
is
box
he
too?
is are we are we gonna start fighting on stage? Like, I don't know. I was like, okay, like it was interesting because he was pretty serious about it. Like
So
his
was
his
this
shadow
girl.
boxing, he was pretty serious
No,
about it.
seriously, this girl backstage when she was doing her shadow boxing thing,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she grew up in a fighting in a, whatever boxing league
Yeah.
because they were straight punches and she was like legit shoulder rolling and freaking bobbing and weaving
You
and
know,
everything. I was like,
it's got to be a
she's
nerve
actually
thing.
pretty
It's
good.
got to be a nerve thing, right? That they're comfortable. They probably, like you said, they probably did more of
Mm-hmm.
that growing up, and that's their comfort zone.
Yeah.
And the bodybuilding is something else, and their maybe nerves is hitting them.
Yeah.
So they start doing that, it gets the nerves out, right?
Yeah, or just
That's what I'm
hypes
thinking.
them up too. Because
Or maybe fires them up.
standing in line so long backstage to get on, you're like, "Oh, hurry up, wait," and you want to stay warm.
Yeah.
I get it, but no, she was straight serious, and the punches came out straight. I was like, damn, she probably does fight in a boxing league.
Probably. Now did you ever think about this? And this is an interesting thought. What if you're a boxer and you're doing bodybuilding poses before you go out? What if it was reversed?
Right?
Right? You're out there doing, you're doing poses, you're doing poses. The guy's over there, cha, 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 warming up hands, and you're hitting your shots.
Right.
Reverse it. So wouldn't that look crazy? Kind of like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
So if you flip that and you go to a bodybuilding show and you see somebody doing shadow boxing,
Yep, exactly.
kind of a little crazy, right?
Yeah.
But bodybuilding's weird. I think bodybuilding's weird because it's almost accepted. You can just kind of do whatever. If you want to go do burpees before, okay, it's fine. You want to shadow box, it's fine. You want to do aerobics before you get on stage, whatever. It's kind of like that. Like it's like you can kind of do whatever, right? But if you were a fighter and you were doing random
Bodybuilding
stuff,
posing.
bodybuilding poses, people would laugh at you. They'd be like, dude, what
Fuck
are
are
you
you
doing?
doing?
You're
Yeah.
gonna get knocked out. Like, yeah. So I don't know. It's just interesting if you flip it, right? So I think bodybuilding, man, we just it's that sport over the years. I mean, this is why sometimes people make fun of it or it doesn't get taken serious because of stuff like that, because of things like that.
Yeah.
Because of people doing things like that, or the random guy that just came off the street, didn't shave, threw on a speedo, and went up there and was like messing around, and you're like, okay, it makes it look bad,
Or like I mean, compete year after year after year after year, no changes, then they just love to compete. I mean, that's
right?
awesome and all, but
Right.
you'd like to hope that, just
Because the reality is, if you're gonna go and you're gonna do a boxing match or you're gonna do a jujitsu match or whatever, you're gonna, I'd say 99.9% of the people are actually training in that sport to go and do it when they go to the actual tournament or whatever, right? But you have people who really don't work out very much and decide, I want to do a bodybuilding show, and it's acceptable, right? And it's okay. You can do it. But most people aren't going to just go to a boxing match without training. They're gonna get knocked out.
I
You
mean,
know?
if you do, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's pretty brave, but
That's very brave. But yeah, so I mean,
another one at 20. I know you're a stickler for everybody helping to keep this place clean, and
mhm.
it makes a big difference. And you know how crowded and busy it gets at 24-hour fitness Kapiolani,
Oh
and
yeah.
they have like paper towels and spray stations all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, and there was a time as well too where you had to bring your own towel, and then another time before or even after that that they were providing
I
towels
remember.
until people started stealing the towels. I might be guilty of leaving one in my bag or two
I've seen them
at a
everywhere.
time
The
before.
blue stripe ones.
And then they
I
dyed them pink.
Oh my God. Well, I just remember, sorry, but I remember at one point we had towels here, and I swear like 80% of our towels were those
Blue
towels.
striped one.
Yeah, like I don't even know how we got them all. I was like, what's going on?
Um, but anyway, so like there's stations everywhere, and it was at a time that they were, handing out towels as well at
Yeah,
24 Fitness Kapilani. And then with the crowd and the busyness and everything like that, I was kind of waiting for one of those benches. And I don't know, this sweaty guy, he was all in his shit and he was working out hard and he was very intense, making lots of noise, throwing shit around. Like, yeah, right on. You got that pump going on and you're all hyped off of doing whatever you're doing.
yeah,
He got up, he kind of like threw his weights back on the rack and then picked up his shit and went to another machine. And I was waiting for the bench that he was on because it was one of those adjustable ones to make incline and whatever.
right.
He goes off to another machine, the flat bench area right behind, and he started loading up weights. And I looked at him, looked at the bench that he just got off. So I just dropped my bag by the bench. So I'd be like, okay, that's kind of, I'm going to work, start
Right.
working out there. You know how people kind of reserve their
Yeah,
stuff.
you mark it. Yeah.
So I'm looking to see whether or not he's gonna clean up his shit because there's like sweat all over the place. He's having an intense workout. I look back at him at the other bench and he finishes one set all amped up and everything like that. I'm like, "Fuck this guy. Excuse me, are you alright or what?
You're like, are you all right or what?
Are you alright or what? He was like, huh? What? What? Yeah, what do you mean am I alright? I was like, are
Wow.
you alright or what? You know how to clean up your shit or what when you're done? The paper towel spray and dispenser is right there. And
Uh,
he got all mad and he started like huffing and puffing. I'm like, what? Clean up after
oh
yourself.
my
That's fucking
God.
disgusting.
It is.
And then I don't know.
Oh.
He probably would have kicked my ass, but I was just in a mood that day.
Mhm. So you weren't having it. You're
I
like,
weren't
"What? Are
having it.
you all right?" Yeah.
You were right or what? And
You're right
he's,
about it.
oh my God.
That's a nice
I
way to
was
approach.
prepared to
Yeah.
die that
You're
day.
you're so mad. Sometimes it's like that though. You get so irritated
But
with
he did
people.
that. He made it obvious that he sprayed, he wiped it. He was like,
Oh, like, look, I'll clean it. Yeah. Well, he needed that,
yeah.
obviously. I mean, some people just don't get it, man. It's like, dude, nobody wants to lay in your pool of sweat.
That's disgusting. Could you imagine that back when like Arnold guys were lifting and stuff, they used to like shave
They
each
never
other's
used to
bed. They used
wipe.
to wipe down the
No,
machines.
no, you did. You really didn't. I mean, that's even when back in the 80s, it was like
And
that, to
a
be
lot of these
honest.
gyms weren't AC gyms either.
No,
And
oh no, there
yeah,
was
it
no,
must have
there
been
was
nasty.
rare. I don't think most gyms had AC because they were gyms, right? Like
Yeah.
literally a gym. It wasn't a fitness center. Fitness wasn't even a word back in the
Mm-mm.
70s. The 80s, I think it became a thing, but
Yes, they changed the
that's
name.
when the fitness started coming out. But
Mm.
especially in the 70s, I doubt it. I bet you it was all just open air, hot gym spaces. So these guys were sweating, and I'm pretty sure a lot of those places, I mean, they probably trained with their shirts off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because most of the gyms, I'm sure in
Or
the 70s,
stringers and yeah.
well, in the 70s, I mean, I wasn't lifting in the 70s, so I couldn't tell you, but just looking at videos and stuff, I mean, I'm sure that it was probably all dudes in there. It was all guys. You know what I mean? Like the gym in the 70s, it was all men. I mean, really. So, I think the 80s is when it kind of started to they started,
Integrate the
integrate.
women.
Women
Yeah.
started coming in the 80s a little bit more, but for sure 70s, I don't know. It was all guys. So It was a different environment.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they kind of evolved from gym to fitness center, right?
Yeah, the word fitness became like that, I guess, more welcoming word for the average person, right?
Yeah.
From
So
gym to
what happens
fitness.
when you see people over here don't wipe up after themselves? Do you say anything?
Um,
You can-
yeah, no, I do. I mean, I have, or somebody else will say something. What's funny is I don't. It's interesting because I I don't get as annoyed if somebody doesn't wipe up. Like it depends, right? Obviously, like if the thing is like covered, dripping in sweat, then I'll be like, oh, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah,
But if it's like a little spot, I'll be like, oh, somebody forgot to wipe it. But if you don't re-rack your weights, I lose my shit.
that's the part. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the weight re-racking that really gets me annoyed. But the wiping down, if sometimes people like, okay, it's a little bit of sweat, whatever. I don't really trip on that too much. If it's a lot of sweat, then yeah, I'll be like, but I still nothing will get me as upset as if you don't re-rack your
Or
weights.
the inconsiderate re-racking where they put like the fives and tens on the
Yeah,
bottom and the,
that
the 45s and the 35s
that's
up on the
crazy.
mid where,
Yeah.
conveniently with the weight, it should be like a tree.
You know what? I was interesting. Speaking about people just in general in the gym, like, have you people who have bad body odor? Okay, like this is go right at it. This is interesting now, and a lot of times I know from the past stuff, they'll say that they didn't know.
I
Like
do
if
not
you
know.
if you go, hey, you kind of like you need some deodorant or your body odor is really strong. A lot of times they go, "Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that." Like honestly, I feel like most of the time, and I'm sitting there going kind of confused because I'm like, man, I know when I have some body odor, like I can smell it. You know what I mean? Like I can smell like, oh, I need deodorant. How do you day in and day out come to the gym and not know that you have bad body? Like, are you lying or are you lying to yourself? Like, what's going on? Are you buying that?
Or are you so accustomed to your own stench that you don't even know that you
Right.
stink?
It's kind of like the homeless guy on the street, right? He probably doesn't even recognize the smell because he's been homeless, right?
Or high
I
on
get
meth.
that. Or there you go, or both.
Yes.
So that is excusable. Okay. I mean, whatever. But hey, you're just a regular guy, comes to the gym, works out, has like a job. Like, how do you not, personal hygiene?
Personally, yes.
Like,
Hygiene.
I think this is one because this one happens a lot. Some guys they'll do something before coming here, whether it's they went to work all day or maybe they did something else and they were sweating a lot, right? And they were
Still
really
do.
sweating. And then they come here with those sweaty clothes on from a few hours ago, and then it reactivates it,
Yep.
right? And then it's even worse.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, whoa, it smells so strong. And because like, and it sounds funny, but a lot of times before, like what I would do, and when I used to work my normal job and then I would go home and I would work out after. A lot of times I would go in the shower and then I go to
Mm-hmm.
the gym
I'm like that too.
because I felt good after the shower
Yeah.
and then I go hit it. And of course, the other side is because, yeah, I was sweating all day, like I was working. So, yeah,
I actually have it in my contracts now when people sign that says you cannot come into the gym smelling like you just left the gym.
right. There you go.
That's in there. I'm
There,
putting it
there
for
you
my
go.
personal
Yeah.
clients. Just like I also don't like no headphones when I'm training you because I have to
Yeah.
Oh
communicate.
yeah.
No chewing gum.
Mm,
I don't need
Cell
somebody
phone
choking on
while
gum.
you're training them.
Yeah, and no Crocs or slippers or flip flops.
mm,
I don't give a shit if you think Crocs is the new. You're not wearing them while I'm training you.
Yeah.
You're don't. I don't like it when people come to a gym where they're supposed to work doing lazy shit, like not tying their shoes and walking on the backs of their shoes, and not like, dude, this is the one place you're not supposed to be lazy. Keep your Crocs at home where they belong. Wear some shoes, or I mean, you can wear like the Vans you wear and stuff. Those are
yeah.
fine, but
Yeah.
something about their Crocs like being free on the heel or something, I just
Well,
don't
they're
like that.
open. Yeah, they're open.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Even if
don't.
you
Well,
put it
because
in
they could
sports
slip
mode.
Yeah,
because you can sports mode. There you go. Because you can slip out of them
Yeah.
still. Yeah, yeah. So
Especially on a
it's
leg
a
day.
safety
Fucking
hazard,
don't
right?
be wearing
It's a safety
Crocs.
like
hazard.
Yeah.
Brian, I always give him shit every time
Oh,
he wears
Brian
his. He
always
wears
wears
his
them.
all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Oh
forever.
man, yeah,
But
it's
hygiene, or like you should have in your contract that they can't smell, like they can't mask their smell with another smell either. That's
uh,
foul as hell.
Especially Axe. That's the
Axe
worst.
is,
oh yeah,
You remember that was big in the 90s?
that
The
was
oh
spray
my
bottle,
so
god.
big in the 90s.
Axe body
They
spray.
advertised the shit out of that. I remember everybody was buying that.
Such a white trash fucking.
Oh man, I remember everybody was buying it. Well, I think I bought it once. To be honest, I was like, let me try it, but I just wore cologne. I wore good cologne, so
Not
I
no
didn't.
Dracar,
Oh, I had Jakar in the 80s. Hey, in
Stetson,
the 80s, Jakar.
Stetson.
No, I didn't wear Stetson.
Brute.
This brute, that was like alcohol. That smelled like alcohol. I
Stetson's a
used to get that
former.
for Christmas when I was like, I think I was like eighth grade, right about that 13, 14, your aunts or your whatever your grandparents, they're like, oh, he's a teenager now. Give him
He's
this.
probably got pubes. Give him some
Yeah. And it
Stetson.
was like the brute package. And I remember it was like the
Brutes.
package, right? It had
Old
like the
Spice
the shower
package.
gel,
The
the
aftershave.
cologne, aftershave. And I remember just being like, and I tried it and I was like, I don't really like this. Like, and I was probably 13. And then I think I was like, I want to say maybe I was 14 when I got Drakkar,
Yeah,
because Drakkar was like the one back in the 80s
yeah.
that was like, oh, and I remember
And
like, this is
CK1.
good. Drakkar is good. And then that fresh scent stuff started coming out, right? Like the aqua, all the aqua
Aqua
stuff,
Diesel.
Aqua di Gio, and those things started coming out in the 90s. That became the smell, but yeah, um, yeah, I wasn't into the Axe
No,
very
seriously,
much.
talking about like stench on stench, and you were talking about you coming from like a day job doing construction out in the sun, and you sweat dry, and you come in that same shirt you was at
Mm,
work, and you're thinking, ah, fuck, I'm dirty already. I'm just gonna lift weights in this, and then
right.
you add more stench onto it. That is one. Or you know how the stench gets baked in
Oh,
into the clothes, even if you
you can't get
wash
rid
it.
of it. Yeah.
Once it gets wet again, it smells like a sack
Mm,
of shit.
you can't
What?
get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's. I know some people that wear only white shirts to work out, and so they can bleach them and get that smell out.
Yeah.
Especially when you eat a shitload of protein, you got that ammonia smell in your
And then you
sweat.
get the ammonia sweat
Yeah.
What
here.
about the white shirts that end up becoming like khaki color over time?
Yeah.
You're like, that was white, wasn't it? It's khaki now. Like, time to get rid of it,
Uh,
dude.
and it could be your favorite shirt. Just I mean,
You just got to get rid
God,
of
get
it.
rid
There's
of it.
times you just got to get rid of
Especially
stuff.
if the smell doesn't come out. Just like
Yes.
towels. Like after a while, you just
Well,
gotta get rid of
if
it.
you don't, I think part of the problem is if you wear that shirt and you sweat it and you just throw it in the hamper soaking wet
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
sits there for three days before you wash it. No, like air it out, hang it up, air it out, let it dry out. Like don't throw it in the hamper wet with all your other clothes in it. And it just gets nasty. And
Hmm.
then basically, like you said, you gotta throw that shirt away.
Yeah.
Like it's this it's so
I
nasty.
mean, or even some of the girls, you keeping your favorite sports bra a little bit too long. I mean, that thing absorbs so
Or
much.
the wraps, like the wrist
Oh yeah, the
wraps
rip.
and the
Yeah.
straps. Oh
Not
man,
washing
there's some guys
those.
I'm like, have you ever washed those? Because
Instead of using smelling salts, they should just
yeah,
that's their
because
wrist
you can
wraps.
smell them across the gym. They're walking by, like you'd be standing there and they walk by you and they're like, whoa, what? Who is that? And the guy's got his wrist straps on. You're like, damn, dude,
Yeah.
this son, you just walking like this, right? It's so bad. I'm like, do you ever wash that? Like, no, never, ever. Like, throw it in the sink. Like, just put on hot water, put some soap in there, let it soak. Like, I don't know, something, dude. Like, it's not hard. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's not that
they
serious.
just
It's
don't
their lucky
because they
wraps. They're gonna
sweat.
wash off all the good luck or whatever,
Well,
right?
yeah, right. They sweat. They throw it in the bag,
Yeah.
and it sits in the bag zipped up, so it doesn't even air out. So it just
Yeah,
gets
like I'm saying, instead of using
bakes.
that smelling salt, just smell their wraps and yeah,
Yeah,
just
let's
lift your
go, baby.
weights.
You think
Let's
smelling
wake
salts are
up.
being used too much?
Yes.
People will do them for
Um,
like one of their mid sets or something, not even their heaviest set. And they
yeah,
start
that's
smelling them.
crazy.
It's
No,
like
I used
stupid.
to use it when I was powerlifting, when I was maxing out, but but now, but other than that, no, I wouldn't. I wanted, yeah, I saved it for that,
Hmm.
for that adrenaline. I remember, I forget how old I was. I was pretty young. I don't know, maybe I was 15 or something, 16. And I remember the first time I was deadlifting 405. I might have been 16. 405. So it was a big deal for me, right? To do 4 plates, like, yeah, deadlift. And they had the smelling salts and stuff. And I wasn't used to it. did I ever use it before?
Cat piss.
Maybe I might have used it once or I don't know. But I remember cracking it like, and I wasn't doing because I learned after, right? You crack, put it in the bottle and you can just sniff
Yeah,
it. But I had the fresh one, like just I'm
just to
gonna
crack.
do this 405, and then it was for me that was a huge goal to do 4 plates, right? And I cracked it, and I was like, oh, I took so much, and I was like, and then the guy that was there at the gym was like waiting for me. He was like watching me. He's like, "Come on, man!" And then I was like, I kind of felt like I was gonna pass out.
Yeah.
And I remember like, oh my God, like I just grabbed that thing and I got it. But the whole time I was like, whoa, like it was way too much. But I actually did it. I was pretty stoked. I did my 405, and then I was like,
Now I see it. I mean, yeah, like we talked about earlier, I go to a lot of different gyms. I rotate depending on what I've got going on for the day or the week. Conveniently, I'm accessible to a lot of gyms, so I see it in many variations of it. Where
mm,
some people here, I at this gym, yeah, you know that the boys are gonna get some shit done. They're gonna, whatever,
mhm.
top of their set, or they're gonna PR. So right place, right time. I see it in the other gyms, and I'm like, "Are you serious? You're gonna use some nose torque for what?"
For like
For
halfway through your workout kind of set, like
yeah,
not a max out.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But not to call out any gyms, but it's one that we talked about earlier that's in town over there
Oh yeah.
that I possibly may have worked in when I was 16.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, where it's just like you're using salts for that set.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's
Yeah.
the same people. I mean, I hate to judge, but usually broccoli hair, wearing Crocs, pajama pants, working out with their
Is that the
boys.
look? The
Dude,
pajama pants, broccoli hair, and Crocs?
it's been
This
a
is the
look.
look? Interesting. But I don't get the whole pajama pants thing. And you see girls doing it too, right? A lot of younger girls, they'll wear it. It's that's interesting to me. You'll
Why you
see
guys trying to look homeless?
no, they come in and they got those pajama pants on and whatever, and it just looks horrible on them. Like doesn't flatter their bodies at all, right? Maybe that's what they want. And then a lot of times they'll take it off.
Yep.
And they look really good, right? They got some tights on, they got their
The
shorts,
matching
tights,
shit.
and they
Yeah.
look, and you're like, whoa, she looks really good. But with with that sweats outfit on, yeah, horrible. Like, and maybe that was the deal. Maybe they're just like, I want to look as homely and just as plain as possible. Because hey,
Sure. Or
job well
maybe
done.
maybe they spent all the money on the nice like matching spandex set
Yeah.
and they couldn't afford the outer layer, so they
So they went and bought the baggy gray, funky
they
looking
only could afford
sweatpants, top,
they
bottom,
only
top.
could afford pajamas
Yeah.
as warm-ups,
Or pajamas. Yes. Yeah. It's interesting.
Maybe, I don't know,
I don't know.
but I see it a lot
It's
in that gym over there.
well, like, in the 90s, we used to do the whole sweatshirt thing, like the cut top, and then we'd go in there and then we got pumped up, we take it off, and we have our tank top.
Mhm.
So it's similar to that, I guess, for like the girls. They do the bottoms. So usually the bottoms, right? They might come with a sports bra, but the bottoms is all baggy. And then when they feel pretty good, they take it off and they're like, booty. They're doing a booty workout. They're like, look at my legs and my booty. And they're like, oh, okay, well, she looks pretty good. Maybe that's their pump pants.
Yeah. Pump covers.
And what's big too, right, is the last few years is you wear oversized shirt, but you lift the back up so your butt shows, right?
That part I don't understand how they tuck it up in the back,
Yeah,
oversized shirt, and
it's an
just
oversized shirt, but they tuck it in the
yeah,
back
they
so that
tuck it
so
into
that the
their
booty
sports
the
bra so
booty
their
sticks out.
booty
Yeah,
sticks out. Just
yeah. I wonder who was the first one to think of that one.
god damn.
I don't know. I feel like it was like it was a mistake. Like somebody was training and maybe their partner was, or somebody was like, "Oh, like pull up your shirt, let me see," and they're like, "Oh yeah, it looks good." Like keep squeezing, squeezing, and they had the shirt up in the back, and the front was hanging. And somebody saw it was like, "Oh, that's a good idea," and then they started doing it, and then pretty soon everyone's like, "Hey, that's a great idea. Let's walk around like that." So you never know.
Oh my
I mean,
god.
hey, whatever. It's just interesting. I'm not knocking it. I just think it's interesting all the different
I
trends.
mean, that's good for you guys to see,
Yeah.
but that's
I just
rather
see the
interesting.
different trends over the years.
Like how
Oh,
you guys used to wear pinstripe pants,
oh yeah. Yeah,
right?
that was the thing. Yeah.
it came from baggies and then it went to tights that was striped.
That's
Zuma
right.
pants.
Zumas,
Yes.
yeah,
The Zoom, yeah, yep. Oh man, I remember
yeah.
those.
I almost bought some the other
With
day.
stringers. I'm gonna bring back the '80s look, man.
Oh, you are?
No,
Cool. Bring it
no.
back. Bring that funky track back. Bring that funky track back. Yeah, bring it,
Oh,
baby.
speaking of songs and shows, dude, like some of these shows, they're supposed to be family oriented shows. They're some of the DJs, man, they have no reason to be playing no like,
Oh, they play the
"Hey,
explicit.
we want some," and you're like, dude, there's kids in the crowd, like,
They play explicit. Yeah,
yeah.
because they have all the censored stuff too, but
But some of the shows, I'm like, what?
pretty hardcore. Well, it's funny when you think about like the 90s, like the music in the 90s, it was pretty, there's some pretty hard, like you said, like, we want some kitty cat, you know? We want some pussy. Yeah. So that was a thing in the 90s, right? Like all those kind of songs work that was coming out, in the 90s. So it's pretty crazy. And now I don't even think the songs are that the songs, the way that the things that they're saying, if you listen to the lyrics nowadays, you can catch it. But before it was very obvious what they were
Yeah.
saying. They would let you know, like you could understand exactly what they were saying.
But still, playing that kind of stuff, I mean, when this is supposed to be a family show,
Well, yeah.
playing
At
it,
a
that's
bodybuilding show, yeah, you
it's a
should
little bit.
you should tone it down a little bit. I mean,
And
there's
like
kids.
as far as the DJs having a clue, like I've been to other bodybuilding shows here in Hawaii. It's one thing to play like kind of Hawaiian local kind of like
Mm.
chill music while the women bikini division is up. But when you got like bodybuilders, like play something a little bit more appropriate, more matching for them to be like, all right, get a little hype.
Oh,
We
I
got to
see what you're
pose.
saying.
How you gonna pose to like elevator music?
You're playing like the luau music,
Luau music, yes.
like tourist hotel music.
Oh my
You're like,
god.
dude, put something on upbeat,
Mm-hmm.
some rock, some hip hop, something that gets
Mm-hmm.
people the adrenaline going, right?
Without
Yeah.
swear words and
Right, right.
just
There's a lot of
oh
songs.
my god.
That's interesting, yeah. Yeah, because you're at the Sheraton and they're putting on the
And because like prejudging, you're posing to house music. You're
right.
posing to like whatever the DJ is
Whatever's
playing.
yeah.
So you're like, all right,
Yeah,
can we?
put something good on.
Yeah,
For sure. Yeah. It makes a difference. The energy. Yeah, for sure.
it sure does. Oh, stories. My
Yeah,
gosh.
man. Yeah, it does. Well, that was pretty cool. Yeah. There's more stories, but there's always
There's lots
I
more
could dig into
stories.
it, go back. I've always got a lot of different ones. Um, but I was trying to think, was there I feel like I told a bunch of these stories anyway too. Um, because I did talk about that, my one Tijuana trip, yeah.
Yeah, you talked about
I
that.
talked about that one, yeah. That was a memorable one though. I'm still so proud of myself for putting those vials in that loaf of bread. People haven't heard the story. Well, it's on one of our other podcasts, but I it's just it's a very proud smuggler moment for me.
Oh my
Proud
god.
smuggler. You know what's funny? Because I never felt like I was doing anything wrong. When I was like getting steroids over the border and stuff, I just didn't think like it was wrong. I just didn't feel like it was a bad thing, like it was immoral. Like I just didn't, you know what I mean? Like there's things that I think that are bad, yes. But that I was like, come on. So I had no problem doing it. And when I got away with it, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. It was fun. So,
And
oh
that's why
well.
you're still in the military, or
Yeah, well,
after you got out.
that was in the early 90s, man.
Oh,
Yeah, that was in the early 90s. So, yeah, I was getting out. Actually, I was in the military, but I think it was like my last, shit, it was definitely my last year in, like, my, when I was in when I was in the Air Force, that was my last year in the Air Force, I think, when I went down there and grabbed it. Yeah. So, yeah, it was, now thinking back, I'm like, that's kind of crazy because I was like, what if I got in trouble for that? Like I could have been, I was still in. I had
Leavenworth.
no, they wouldn't give me Leavenworth, but I would have gotten in trouble. I mean, for what I was taking, they wouldn't have. No, they would have just been like slap on the wrist, but I would have gotten in trouble, like for sure. Who knows? I could have got court-martialed, possibly. I mean,
Kicked out of military.
yeah, possibly. I mean, who? Yeah, it just depends on what
And
the
then they
command
probably would have
was.
took your steroids and used it themselves.
Oh yeah, of course. They're like, give me this.
Triple down.
Give me this. What are we doing? And believe me, and it wasn't great. That stuff that I was getting back then was not that good because it was like 90s crappy stuff that you could get over the border. It wasn't. It was cheap. So
Well, as we wrap up this show, congratulations to all of the Arnold amateur and Arnold pro winners. Congratulations, Sam Sulek, getting his pro card as
yeah,
well
that's
too. That was pretty
crazy.
awesome. Second
He looked
show.
pretty good.
He looked
Yeah,
good. He
yeah,
looked good.
yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
wild. Yeah.
congratulations to all you winners.
Yes. Awesome. Good show. All right. Well, we'll be back next week. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you guys again on Paradise Pump. Aloha.